Hi everyone, we are in sunny, beautiful Sonoma, California to drive the 2023 Nissan Ariya e-Force. So the Sunna Leaf showed up late last year in front drive form, but now we have the all-wheel drive model promising more power and more all-weather capability. However, that does come with an increase in price and a bit of a hit to range. Does this all-wheel drive model make sense in the market? Let's find out. So the Aria E4 as I will probably call it the rest of this video, runs a dual motor setup, one at each axle, like most EVs. And so that means a lot more horsepower than the previous front drive model. You're looking at 335 horsepower in the standard battery pack, which is 63 kilowatt hours of usable power. Or in this model, you have the larger 87 kilowatt hour battery pack, which results in 389 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque. So that's quite a lot, actually. It's more than any Mustang Mach-E outside of the GT. It's more than any Kia EV6 outside of the GT. I wonder if an Aria GT is coming. There are no visual changes to the exterior to hint at this extra power, other than the small badge on the tailgate. The streamlined body is fuss-free but not boring, with a confident style that traces its lineage right back to that milestone first-generation Murano. Speaking of Nissan's now aging tweener, the Aria offers up very nearly as much interior space as it, but in a footprint more roguelike. If you're watching this from Canada, don't get too attached to these 20-inch alloy wheels. They won't be available in the True North Strong and Free. We're talking about power and power delivery. So obviously this is one of the bigger and more powerful EVs out there. And you might think that turns this into a bit of a drag car in the EV market. And no, that's not the case at all. You've got a long travel pedal here. And so it makes for very measured power delivery. The brake pedal is something that I'm not too much of a fan of, I would say. It's just a little mushy. There's also, of course, being an EV, regenerative braking, although not as many different options as you may be used to in other EVs. Here you've got just two options, e-step off or e-step on. Turning it on, it's a reasonable amount of regen. I'd say it's, about mid-pack. Unfortunately, it is not a purely one-pedal experience. You get down to crawling speeds, and the Aria will just continue to crawl. So you're going to actually have to touch the brake pedal at some point. And like I said, it's a bit of a mushy one. On smooth roads, this is one of the most comfortable, calming EVs I've driven. Introduce some unevenness in the route, however, and the Aria's suspension tends to fidget, making for a chatty ride. You notice a lot of back and forth motion while driving over bumpy tarmac. That being said, it is really quiet in here. Nissan calls this interior timeless Japanese futurism. I'll leave that up to you on whether the Aria's interior really qualifies with those three buzzwords, but I will say that this is one of the nicer mainstream EVs that I've been in, at least visually. Why the qualifier? Well, while these Nissan zero-gravity seats are very comfortable on their own, I just find their positioning a little odd. I'm 5'10 or 5'11-ish, depending on the day, and I'm comfortable in these seats, but I can't quite find the right spot for my legs. They're just an odd height where I'm never entirely sure where I should put them. A little more bent than I would like in an SUV. Backseat space is more than comfortable enough for adults. You've got this solid glass panoramic sunroof as well, so lots of natural light. So, about the interior and why I like it so much. Well, this blue and black color combination is pretty classy, and I really like that outside of maybe a BMW iX, there's nothing else that's really playing with texture as much as the Aria. So you've got this really nice Alcantara style material covering just about everything, and then a large strip of what is probably fake wood, let's be honest, but it looks pretty solid. There's a good amount of texture to it, and you get these awesome haptic feedback capacitive touch controls, which look great when they're backlit. Available features include heated and ventilated front seats, plus heated rear outboards, a 360-degree camera, digital rear view mirror, head-up display, and that curved twin 12.3-inch display, which is standard on all trims. So is navigation. ProPilot Assist 2.0 is also available in America, debuting on Aria. This latest evolution now allows for hands-free driving on thousands of miles of highways in the US. Lane changes still require the driver's hands on the wheel, however. It works well enough, keeping the Aria centered through corners and responding naturally to changes in speed and cut-ins. Unfortunately, 2.0 won't be available in Canada, and Nissan had no expected timeline for it either. And Nissan has really leaned into its Japanese heritage here. So you have the Kamiko pattern down in the footwell and on the doors, which just adds a little bit of visual interest. It's also up here in the Bose speaker covers. It's a really spacious, airy place, and it's very calming. There are a few little nitpicks I will have about this interior. One is the powered drawer or storage compartment that's just under the dashboard here in the center. Oddly, you can only open and close it through these controls on the center console, and if you don't hold down the button, then it'll stop mid-motion. That doesn't seem very practical to me. I would actually take a manual control just so that I didn't have to worry about that. Speaking of powered controls, the Ariya has a movable center console, sort of like the Ioniq 5, except this one is powered. You've got the controls just hidden over here on the driver's side. It'll slide forward and backward. If you need to charge a second phone or tablet, or I don't know, I'm not judging, you can use whatever tech you want to use. There's plugs down here at the front end of the center console, and they have a neat little Kamiko patterned cord organizer. Just wrap it around. I don't know, it's nice. I really hate seeing cords just all willy-nilly in the interior. So that's a nice touch. Way to go, Nissan. One thing I don't really enjoy about the Ariya's interior is that it has square cup holders with little flaps that don't actually really do anything to hold the drinks in place. I don't know, it's just odd. I don't ever have any square drinks. I'm sure you don't really have any square drinks. It's just an odd choice that really makes for a lot of rattles, and it doesn't make me confident that my drink is actually secure. As expected, the Ariya's price tag does climb north with the addition of e-Force. You can still buy it with the smaller battery pack, however, which keeps the price at $48,525, including destination. Meanwhile, the entry point in Canada is $62,693. This isn't a full apples-to-apples comparison, however, since both markets offer up a slightly different base trim. Our US spec Platinum Plus model rings in at $62,220, though that doesn't include the price of those chunky 20-inch alloys. The top Canadian trim is the $72,093 Pricier, which is the closest equivalent to this. Is that more than most of the competition? Yes. Does the Ariya offer more tech and more space? Also yes. The 2023 Nissan Ariya e-Force was a necessary addition to the lineup. Sure, the all-wheel drive does push the price into pretty serious territory, but on the flip side, you do get a whole lot of creature comforts with the Ariya. In fact, this model reinforces the Ariya's place in the EV segment. It's a little bit bigger and a little more powerful than other options. That being said, if you're expecting more of a drag kind of performance vehicle, you're looking in the wrong place. This is a comfort-oriented, smooth, serene ride with calm, measured responses. If that sounds like your kind of ride, the new Ariya deserves to be on your shortlist.